And just taking this moment to now think about in your own life, what is your manifestation? What is your asking of the Great Spirit? And just allow it to come in and through you. Feel it ignite your heart, open your aura, open your soul, and allow that light to just come on through. And as you breathe in and out, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into this time and space. So today I've got my labradorite, which is the stone of transformation and stone of destiny. And so some of you may have that stone. It's a really good stone to use to work on opening up what we're going to call your life contract or your soul contract, and bring in the new manifestations. So today's ceremony was actually inspired by there's a passage in the Bible where it says, "Ask and it shall be given you." Right? And so I'm sure a lot of us have heard it. And it's like, ask and you shall receive. And something that was sort of expounded upon with that is that, in the Asian ways, that's how manifestation has always been. It's been more of like asking and then receiving. And that's really been the basis of just asking and receiving. There's no concept of you are not good enough to receive or that you're not worthy. So where I want to start with today is that you are complete as you are, and you are a creator. So in this energy especially, it's about creation, because there's two energies going on. There's destruction and then there's creation. And like I've said in ceremonies before, is like destruction is really loud. That's going to be like the loudest that you're going to hear in the earth right now is destruction and chaos and noise, right? But creation is really soft. It's like a seed coming through the earth, and you really don't hear it, but you'll see it, right? You'll see it. And so what energy are you going to focus on? That's the whole thing about this time we're living on. Are you going to put your time, energy, and focus into creation or destruction? And on this side, it's about creation. What are you here to create that probably isn't already here? Or, this is even better, is what have you already created that now you're ready to expand and, blast open? That's the whole energy right now is. And why I put probably what you were doing in the past may not be working at this time, because it's a faster, quicker energy, and what you think really manifests really fastly. So there's 5 principles that I'm going to share with you to think about as we go into this next chapter. And the only thing that's going to stop anything is doubt. So that's what we're going to tackle today, is doubt. But I'm going to start with these 5 principles. And I would like you to hear it more than, I'm going to send this to you. Okay. So I want you to be more in the receiving of it instead of because writing this down, it's gonna distract you. Okay. So, and we're gonna go over it, but I would rather you just receive it and then because it's a little esoteric. Okay. But I am gonna send this out after the session today, so you can spend some time with it. So the first principle is that you exist. You exist. Therefore, nothing but existence can exist. Non-existence cannot exist. Only existence can exist. And the second principle is you are here now. You are here in all times and all spaces. The third is you are one with all that is, therefore you lack nothing. The all is the one, and the all is the one. The fourth, what you set out comes back to you. It has nothing to do with karma, but choice, which is already existing in you. Choose what you like, and it will manifest. You will experience it. If you do not like it, choose another choice. All choice is relevant to your choice. 5, everything changes except for 1 through 4. That does not change. Change to the unchanged. Now you see why I told you not to write that down. What the heck does that mean? This is some, like I said, this is old and new. It's very old principles. This is Asian principles. So you exist. That's the first thing, is you're here. You're not somewhere else. You're here. And so only existence can exist. So if you're here, that means you're existing in this time, in this place. And you have to accept that. You're existing. And you're here now. That's the second principle. You're here now. And you are in all time and all space. This is really important for this time that we're living in, because you're going to see a lot of times and a lot of spaces collapsing together. That's why the Mayan timekeepers, they say all timelines are collapsing, because it's like past, present, and future is all coming together. Especially now that we head into May and there's all this retrograde energy, you're going to see your past, present, and futures like so clear. They're like, oh, I was in yesterday, today, I'm in tomorrow. But you're here now. That's all you got to remember. Wherever you are, if it's your past or your future or your present, wherever you are, you're here now. And you're in all the times, all the spaces. But then you're all one. We're all one. So you're one with everything. And if you're one with everything, that means you lack nothing. You're complete. You're already enlightened. You're already ascended. You already did all that. You're here now, and you're here. And that means that you're one with all that is in your life, good, bad, right, wrong, whatever it is, and that you connect to the oneness of it. See the beauty of all those directions. And then whatever you set out in your life, sometimes we call it prayer, sometimes we call it intention, right? Whatever that is, it's a choice. And if you don't like the choice, if you don't like that path that choice led you on, choose another one, because you are the master creator, right? You're the master creator who's connected to everything. You're in existence, and you're the master of the time and space. So it's really about choice. What are you going to choose going forward? And then, of course, everything changes, except for 1 through 4. Those don't test. You're going to exist. Even when you die in this carnation, you're still going to exist. You're going to be here and now, wherever that here and now is. And you're going to have choices wherever that is. You're going to be one with all that is. And in this time especially, it's the person who is able to change and change again and change again and continuously change. That is the person who's going to find the pot of gold, because it's always going to be changing. You're going to have to, you know, when I was getting ready for this ceremony, what I heard was like, you know, this time where this, like we call it spiritual or consciousness, but that could literally save your life. Making the right decision could literally save someone's life. I mean, that's how extreme some of this energy is, because one false move could be life and death in some situations. For most people it won't be, but it could be for some. And so this is why a lot of the teachings I'm going to go forward with are not things I usually teach to the public, because in the wrong hands, they're kind of dangerous. But with this manifestation, I think it's so important because we have to be on the side of creation. There's too much destruction, especially because we have a lot of women in our group. And the feminine is leading the way. For the next chapter, it is the feminine that is the creator of life. The feminine creates. And that is the balance that this world is in need of. Mother Earth is in need of her feminine energy to rise and to balance. And, you know, we're going to see a lot of changes with the feminine coming forward. It's just, what is it going to take to see those changes? And it's going to really take creation, manifestation. And for women, it's really community, connection, coming together, getting over competition and getting into cooperation. That's the real thing, is how do we come together? So with manifestation, it's about speaking what you want into your life. And you have to speak it in such a way that you have no doubt. And see, I work with a lot of women, and the first thing, oh, I don't know, oh, well, I don't know. And then you see the energy just start to shrink, right? It starts off at this beautiful, like, oh, and maybe I could do this and that and that and that, and it gets all excited, and then, oh. And that's what doubt will do to anything. Anything, it doesn't matter what it is. It will just take that beautiful apple and shrivel it up. So when you're going forward into it, just think of the water. The water knows its destination, and so too does your spirit. Now, where manifestation goes a little wonky at times is that we want something that's totally out of our life contract. For example, I can sit here and say, yes, Spirit, bring me the lottery numbers. If that's not in my life contract, I'm not winning that lottery. I might get one number. I might get two numbers. I might get three. I might get four. I might get five. But maybe I will never get that sixth number because it's not my contract, right? But if it's totally in what you call alignment, it will all flow. And so this is part of the teaching, is that you got to know what's for you and what's not for you. And I think that's really hard sometimes for people, because we live in a culture where it's like Simon says, everybody wants to have what Simon has. You know, it's like we look at the Instagram, or we look at our friends, or we look at our family, and we're always looking outside. But really, it's about looking inside. Because what's heaven for one person might be hell for another, and vice versa, right? So what is our heaven? What is it really that I came here to do? And owning that, and accepting that, and living that to the best of my ability. The best of my ability. You know, and some days you rock it, and some days you want to put the covers over your head. It's okay, right? But that's how we have to think of our life, is that it is like a flowing water. It has a destination. It knows where it's going, and we don't get in the way of that. We just work with that current. We work with that current. And this means that we have to pay attention. We have to really pay attention to what our life is saying. You know, it's like that bad relationship. You know it's bad, you should leave, but you just keep on staying. Maybe it'll change, maybe it'll get better, maybe the universe will, you know, bump him on the head. I don't know. But, you know, we stay in that stagnation. And in this time, trying to stay in that stagnation, not going to work too well, because the universe is moving us along. Like the current is getting a little stronger. So it's like, can you listen? Can you hear? Can you see? Can you feel? Can you understand? Are you going to follow everybody off the bridge, or are you going to, oh no, there's that bridge, I'm turning another way? And then you allow your spirit to merge with your mind, body, and emotions. See, that's the whole kicker, is having our mind, body, and emotions in alignment with our spirit, because that's when the magic happens. That's when you're in flow. That's when synchronicity happens. That's when you start seeing those numbers. That's when you start, meeting the right people, and you're in that flow. You all know what I'm talking about. You feel it. It's like, oh, everything's clicking, everything's working out. Wow, this, that, there's these signs that happen. But when you're out of sync, like just one thing, if your mind is out of sync, it's like, oh, there's something off, something funky happening. Wow, I don't know. Why is it not, there's like something's off. So if one is off, they're all off. So mind, body, emotions, spirit, they have to all be in alignment for us to feel that synchronicity. And this is where your intuition really kicks on. And you don't have to have control with this. That's where we also go a little wonky. It's like, no, I want it this way. I want it that way. I want it to, well, how come nothing's flow? It's not going to flow. Stuck flow. That's stagnation. Because then the mind starts, oh no, I don't think that's right, and all this. So it's about relaxation, relaxing yourself, your mind, rest your emotions. And just ride with it. Ride with your current. Ride with where you're going. And it's all, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but it's about your sensitivity. How sensitive are you? And I don't mean emotional. We all know what that is. Oh, somebody just barely pokes you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how sensitive and attuned your antenna is. Like a child. You know who's really good? If you got kids, go have them do your manifestations. You could just go stick your kid out there under the moonlight, say what you want. Because the kids, they have no filters. They're just so innocent and so pure, and they believe. They believe wholeheartedly. If you tell them, oh yeah, this is a magic unicorn stick. Oh, really? Oh, it's a magic unicorn stick. And then they're just so full of light, right? And that they're the masters at this. So like if you're stuck with it, go hang around some kids and say, hey, bring me some of that juju here. But it really is how trusting you are, how much doubt you have. Are you open to hearing the irrational? That's a big one in this time, because a lot of people don't want to hear the other side of anything. Oh, no, it's not. It's a bad vibe. No. Can you hear the other side of the story with no emotion, and no matter how crazy, awkward, weird, whatever it is against you? Because then you'll find the balance between these things, right and wrong, left and right, black and white, whatever. It's like, because sometimes your spirit will say something totally like out of left field, and you'll block it because of your own judgment or your own preconceived notion or your own, well, I don't think so. That's crazy. How is that going to happen? That's going to block manifestations. If you cannot hear the clown give you a message, because the clown in Native tradition is the most powerful teacher, the heyoka, the coyote. The clown will come with the totally left field, you never heard of thing. And it's like, how can you receive that message? Because it's speaking truth. A lot of times we don't want to hear truth. But can you listen to the truth? And then from there, like a child. And can you listen and allow? And this is going to be a real test for this time, is can you not be reactive? Just listen and allow. because it is from that space the truth will emerge. It's just listening and and allowing, whatever is to be, because there's a lot of things that we will like and a lot of things we won't, and we don't have control over a lot of it. Actually, we have no control. That's what a soul contract really is like, you came here with a purpose, a destiny, a meaning in the parameters where you were born in and within. You have boundaries, you have parameters. You're not a spirit body. You have a body. And that's a parameter right there. It's a boundary. If you were truly free, you would be a spirit. You would just be like plasma, you could go through doors and windows and all that stuff. But because you have a body, like, we can't do that. That would be fun though. So does anybody have a question? You can unmute yourself.
I had a question. I'm echoing. Where is it? Okay. If in alignment, it'll flow. And then you're saying sometimes if you ask for things that aren't in your life contract, then they won't happen. How do you know what's in your life contract?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably everybody's question. Yeah, what's in my life contract? Well, I'm going to teach you guys how to do that today.
Oh, goody.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, because the truth of the matter is that in this time, nobody can tell you what's for you but you. So it's really about like tuning in and connecting, and we're going to talk about how you do that. So I'm going to lay out the principles, and then we're going to actually practice it. And then you'll go home. You're already home. You'll stay home and practice until it starts working and starts flowing. And then you'll be like, oh, yeah, this is when it's in my alignment. Oh, no, this is when it's not in my alignment. But how do you basically know when something's really flowing in your life? What do you feel?
You feel it flowing. I mean,
yeah. And what does that feel like?
Feels happy, feels like good, like, and natural and exciting and relaxed at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how you know.
Connected. Yeah.
Connected. Yeah, that's the word. Connected. You feel connected with all that is.
Yeah.
Your life. How does it feel when it's not flowing?
Really clumsy.
That's a great word for it.
I know, right? We can all have those moments like where you're falling, you're clumsy, you're like, oh no, I tripped, and how come nothing's working out? And not that again. Oh, that's a good one we're going to talk about, is the not that again. That's part of your life contract. The not that again. You know what I'm talking about? The pattern. Anybody have a pattern? Yeah, I have a pattern that you just keep repeating over and over.
For sure.
Not that again. Or my favorite is when people say, I thought it was over that.
Yeah.
That's what we say when that happens. Not that again. I thought he was different. I thought she was different. I thought that job was going to be better. I thought, that's the pattern. That's a life contract. Because you contracted to have that pattern. Why? Why would you contract to have that pattern?
To learn something from it.
Yeah. To learn something from it. Then how do you know you're done with that learning?
How do you know?
How do you know you're done with that
When
pattern?
you get done with that, not that again.
Yeah.
When-
When you say, not that again.
when you stop saying that about that particular thing.
Is that a trigger?
You can use my plug, yeah.
Not that
Here,
again.
grab this. Will it work?
Yeah, when you say not that again, that's already the clue that you're kind of done with it. Now, what is your choice then? Remember how we said, everything is choice. So if you don't like that choice, choose something different. So you got to go back into the choice. So if you go, oh, not that again, what was the choice that led you to the not that again? And then choose another way. So like with a job, what led you to that job? Oh, it was safe, it was secure, there was good money, usually those are the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you first got the job, let's say you're like, oh, I don't really like that. I'm kind of burned out of this. I'm ready for something new, but oh, well, it's good money. It's stable. It's got benefits. It's got blah, 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 blah. And then you get into the not that again situation.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you would have listened to what the emotions in the head were saying, you might have said, oh, well, I'm going to take a risk and start that t-shirt business or start that, holistic healing or Reiki or whatever it was. So it's just like going back to the choice that led you to that person, place, or thing, and then choosing another way. And you can always choose something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can always choose something different. Now, why would you think you can't choose something different?
Why would you think you can't choose something different?
Because you're not worthy of it, or
Yeah, because you're afraid, you're not worthy. You don't have the tools you need to do it. It's scary. It's too risky.
Fear.
Yeah, old patterns, habits.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, but when you know that you have the power of choice and that everything is here and now and that you exist, there's a power to that, because then you remember you're whole. You're not fragmented. You actually don't need to purge anymore. You don't need to finish more schooling. You don't need all those things that now we're talking about. What? Lack. That's lack consciousness. So you can't have manifestation and lack together, because what are you going to be manifesting? Lack. So you have to think of, it's like all or nothing, abundance or nothing. So that's why we always say with this kind of training, you can't go in with the mindset of I can't do it. You don't even start there. If you're still there, you got to go back to something simple. That's why if you go into a manifestation and you say, oh yeah, I believe it, and you really don't believe it, and then you say, I'm going to manifest the lottery winning numbers. How are you going to win the lottery with that kind of thinking? You can't. Then you're gonna look at the lottery numbers and say, I didn't get any of them. See, oh, I don't have any power. I don't know. I'm just gonna shrink away again. So cannot start there. And if you're starting there, then change it. Boost yourself up. Pick yourself up. And look in your mirror. Do those exercises. The Saturday Night Live, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're worthy. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but do that until you really believe it, until you really feel it. And then the outer will reflect the inner. And that's what we need. This is like warrior time. It's the warrior spirit that comes up, because somebody in your life lied to you and told you you were less than, told you you weren't worthy, told you you were dumb, stupid, whatever they told you. It was a lie. Because if you truly saw yourself that the way that the great mystery sees you, you would never see yourself that way. Never, 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 never. You are seen as a great masterpiece in the eyes of the Creator. And that's the way we manifest from. Nobody in this time and space can tell you you are less than what you are. You are creator. You were created from creation. So how could you be less than creation? So that's the real trick to it, is that, you know, a lot of this stuff that's out there is really manifesting from a lack consciousness or a materialistic consciousness. But in this time, who cares what you look like? You can't even go to the salon. You gotta wear a mask. You know, how attractive is that? You know, all that's going away. All that superficial nonsense. Nobody's gonna want that, because in this time, what people want is to be who they came to be, to stand in the courage of who they are, and to create from the flowering within. And nobody wants to be in the superficial. That's what's really kind of cool about this time, is that the superficial is dead and gone. It really is. It's not going to come back, because we're in for the ride of our life. And so, no, it's not coming back. Thank God, because it's a new time. It's a new time. And so training is really going to be about stepping into the abundance of who you are, stepping into your, what we call God self, right? Knowing that you are creating with a creator, whatever you call it, however you call it, whatever it is, and not from a dogmatic place, right? But from an empowered place. Because they're in this circle that we're heading into with the matriarch, is nobody is above and nobody is below. We are all together, unified. And together is how we stay strong. Because one of the things that is really being highlighted during this time is isolation, which is already here, but now it's just amplified, is how isolated and lonely we have been for too long. You know, most people don't even know their neighbors, and now they'll know their neighbors because they're walking around. They're all walking around your neighborhood now. You're like, who's that? Oh, that's my neighbor. You know, you didn't know who they were. Now you do. So, you know, it's together now. Everything in our life is pushing us to a higher place. That's what we have to think about. Everything is happening for our highest good. So don't get, you know, into the fear of it. Oh no, 5G. Oh no, this. Oh no, that. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. You just focus on being in the right place at the right time. And there went the train, but it missed you. That's why I said this teaching can really save somebody's life, because if you're following the train, you might follow it off a cliff. But if you're like, ooh, that train don't look right. I'm just going to mosey over here. You know, that's the flow. That's the flow. You follow the flow. And now is a good time to practice this before it really gets crazy out there. Now is the time you got to master this. And in the upcoming ceremonies, a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about is about shape-shifting and changing and all that stuff. But this is the beginning of it, is you have to step into your divine inheritance. And like, was it Kenny Loggins? Know when to hold him and when to fold him. You know, when it's for you and when it's not for you. And like we said earlier, when it's for you, it feels good, it feels light, it feels inspiring. You feel, you might have fear, but you feel like you can overcome it. And like things are just so perfectly, you know, the right people are coming, the right things are showing up, money's coming, you know, all that's flow. When you hit the speed bump and it's like not for you, it's like bump after bump after bump, challenge after challenge after challenge, message after message after message. Go another way, go another way. And are we listening? So with that, we have to go into what are the levels of sensitivity? Like how attuned is your antenna? So there's a first category, like level 1 is very sensitive, meaning you pick up on everything, you're very intuitive, you're connected, you're always in the right place at the right time, the train just keeps missing you, that kind of thing. That's the level 1. And those are like kids. Kids usually have that. They're just like, whoop, they can instantly manifest things, and they just kind of know. They just know things. A lot of adults are like that. We usually call them naive, innocent, childlike. So, those are the people who, you're like, oh, they're so naive. They're so innocent. They believe everything you say, but they have that childlike quality. And they usually, will know things. The second level is like you're medium sensitive. So those are pretty intuitive. They trust more than they don't trust. They may have some doubt, but more in the flow than not. And then we have level 3 is like fairly sensitive. It's like hit and miss. There's going to be like half and half, let's say, like half intuitive and half doubt. And then level 4 is like hardly sensitive at all. They're kind of interested in intuition. They may even take classes. They may meditate. They might do yoga, but they don't believe in it. And I'm sure you guys have met people like that. It's like, oh, yeah, that's kind of interesting, or agnostic or something like that. And then 5 is like hard head. They don't believe in it at all. It's woo-woo. I don't believe in intuition. Has to hit them over the head. That's the see it to believe it, and even when they see it, they still don't believe it. That's like very extreme. And usually 1 and 5 are the extremes, because most people are not a 1 and most people are not a 5. They're usually somewhere in between there. And there's cons and pros to each one. When you're very sensitive, it's kind of hard to be in this world. And then when you're very hard-headed, it's really hard too. So it's like extremes of the polar opposites. But the sensitivity is sort of a gauge to see how you manifest too. Because we're going to do some exercises here in a minute that will show you how sensitive you are. And then you can either build your sensitivity or train. It's training. It's just like, I'll give you some tools, and then you can use them to train and see how they work in your own life. And in the future, it's really about quantum or consciousness. The AI systems coming on board are really going to be training systems to move us into singularity, which is oneness and consciousness. And it's a mirror of our collective consciousness. And a lot of the stuff that we think is so evil or bad for us is actually training us for future selves and future lives. So that's why I say you have to kind of listen to both and all sides, and don't get triggered and mad and, all that, but just kind of allow it to be what it is, which is training. It's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be hard either. It's just, a redefining your reality. So we're going to, does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. I'm still getting used to like just seeing everybody, but not hearing anybody. All right, so we're gonna take like about a 10-minute break, and I want each one of you to come back with some water, and we're gonna do some manifestation with water, and then we're gonna just kind of open up the floor for everybody to talk. And so we'll be back in about 10 minutes.